What is going on, everybody? Hope you guys are having a good morning today. It's a great day to talk about Jesus. I'm really excited about this. Yesterday we talked a lot about some really great stuff. I just wanted to make sure that we keep going on this. This is the fourth day we've done this. Actually, technically, I guess it would be the third day. But if you're like me and you got up the first day, this hangout was a brutal failure, but we ended up fixing it. And today is the fourth day of getting up early in the morning and spending time for me. And I hope it's the fourth day for you guys. Today should have been a little bit easier than yesterday. It was for me. Yesterday was pretty tough, but I think we're gonna get through it. We're just going to be talking today. We're going to dig right into our devotionals. It's going to be a great time, and I hope you guys like it. I'm going to start off just by kind of telling you a story about these two guys. And basically, these two guys are two people who, for a living, they chop down wood. Now, if you've heard the story before, just kind of stick with me because I'm going to relate it to you in a way that you probably haven't heard. But there's these two guys, and they go around and they chop wood. That's their job. That's their livelihood. That's how they get their money. Much like you guys, if you guys work at like an ice cream store, or you guys, I don't know, whatever you guys do, work at Emmanuel, or if you guys don't have a job, eventually you're gonna get a job. And unfortunately for these guys, they cut down wood all day because that's a hard job. And so they're going, and they got this plot of acreage that they have to clear out, basically, of trees for somebody. And so, much like me and you do, especially me and Chris, you can ask Chris, and he'll attest to this. They looked at all the wood that they have to cut down. They scanned the area, and they said, one of them says, "I bet you I can cut down more trees than you can in the amount of time that we have." You know, it's a little friendly competition, right? Well, the other guy was like, "All right, I bet you, I'll take that offer. I'll take that bet." It's a little friendly competition. And so he goes, "We'll start here in about 5 minutes, and we'll get going." And so about 5 minutes later, they get their stuff ready. They get their gasoline, they get their oil, they get their axes and their chainsaws. They get everything they need set up. And he says, "Okay, 3, 2, 1, go." And so they go, and they start chopping that wood. And one guy just starts hacking away at this tree just as fast as he can, sweat pouring down on him. Okay, a couple hours goes by, and he's like, "Oh man, I'm so tired already. I don't know how I'm gonna get this done." So he's just like going as fast as he can. You know, he's probably got about two trees down. Now keep in mind, they not only have to cut down the trees, they have to chop them up into pieces, right? So they're manageable, so that they can pick them up and put them into like a trailer and haul them off, or put them into a wood chipper. They can't just stick the whole tree into a wood chipper. You know, they have to get them into sizes that are manageable. So not only do they have to fell the tree, is the technical term, they also have to chop it up. So this guy's probably got about maybe one and a half trees done. And he's just sweating, he's pouring down his face, and his shirt's already drenched. He's parched, you know, he's hungry, and he's just giving everything he has, 100% everything he has, and he's just hacking away at this tree as fast as he can. Maybe an hour later passes, and he looks over at the other guy, and he's like, "Man, how is this? What's this guy doing? He's just sitting down, and he's just taking a break." He was like, "Oh, I got this in the bag. This guy's gonna take breaks, and I'm gonna just hack away at this as fast as I can, and I'm gonna get all this stuff done." And so he's like, "All right, I got this." And then the guy starts hacking away at the tree again, and he's giving everything he got. He's giving everything he got, and I mean, once again, it's just like he's so exhausted by this point. He's so basically just worn out. You know, his body's getting really tired, and he's just hacking away at these trees and stuff. He's probably got 3 or 4 trees down by now, and he's just hacking away at them. And then he looks over at the other guy just to see his progress, and the other guy's sitting there, and he looks over, and the guy's just sitting on a tree, just kind of chilling for a little bit. And he's like, "Man, what is this guy doing? This is the second break he's had. I'm going to destroy this guy. This is going to be easy. I'm going to win this bet." And so he's like, "All right, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going." So he's hacking some more trees, just chopping them down. You know, trees are felling everywhere, and he's giving everything he got, 100%. And so um, about 30 minutes to go, and until their time is up, and he's got a pretty good amount of trees already fallen down and chopped up. So he's like, well, I'm just going to give everything I got for the last 30 minutes. But before he does that, he looks over at the other guy and he's like, what is this guy's deal? He's just sitting there and he's just taking breaks all the time. Obviously, I'm going to beat him. This guy's crazy. All he's doing is taking breaks. He's like, I don't understand it. So he's like, oh, well, I'm just going to give everything I got for the next 30 minutes. And so he just starts hacking once again at the trees. Chris is texting me. Yes, it has started already, Chris. So this guy just starts hacking away at the trees for the last 30 minutes that he's got, just like killing it, just killing it. And so the time limit ends, and they both come together. And the guy who's just sweat pouring down, there's that one guy who's just giving everything he got, and then there's the other guy, and he's just casually walking over, you know. I mean, yeah, he's a little sweaty, he's been working, but he's not like crazy exhausted. And the guy who was just giving everything he got, he goes, how many trees do you got? How many trees did you cut down? And the guy who just took his time was like, well, I think I got about 10 trees cut down. And the guy was like, there's no way that you got 10 trees cut down, because I got 8 trees cut down, and I gave you, all I did is see you look like over there sitting on that tree just taking breaks the whole time. All you did was just take breaks. He's like, I don't believe you. I got to go check this out. So they walk over and they count the amount of trees that the guy cut down, and the guy's like, well, lo and behold, you got 10 trees that you've cut down. How did you do that? Because every time I looked over at you, you were just taking breaks. So, and I was giving everything I got. How would you cut down more trees than I did? And so the guy was like, well, he goes, one thing you didn't see, one thing you failed to see, is that every time I was taking those breaks, I was sharpening my blade on my chainsaw. I was sharpening my blade on my axe. And the guy was like, oh, I didn't do that. You know, my axe got kind of dull. Maybe that's why it took me so long to cut those trees down. And so that's the story I was going to tell you guys. Now, there's a point to this story. It's not, the punchline isn't, oh, I was sharpening my axe. You know, that's not the joke. It's just, that's the main point of the story. But that's not the moral of the story. Before I get you the moral of the story, I'm going to let Gracie back in real quick because I'm sure you can hear her barking in the background and stuff like that. Give me like 2 seconds. Just gotta let her in. Gracie. Okay. There we go. So anyways, so the guy was like, you know, every time I took my breaks, I sharpened my blade so that it didn't get dull. Now, if you're like me, life is sort of like chopping wood. It's kind of like the chopping wood story. If you're anything like me, it's like just like the chopping wood story. And I'll tell you why. I mean, obviously, I don't chop down wood like all the time, but in a sense, it's the same way. You go in life, and you know, you have hard work that you have to do. You have tons of stuff that you have to do. You know, and the things take time. Time is like the enemy. Yet at the same time, you need it so much. You know, and so you have. Everything you do takes so much time. You have to put in so much effort into it, and then you have like just your to-do list that you have to do. Like, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. You know, you have your deadlines that you gotta meet. You have all your relationships that you gotta keep up with. Maybe you're just your family, maybe your friends, maybe your boyfriend or girlfriend. Your relationship with God. All the activities that you're in, such as sports, maybe band, or I don't know, track and field, cross country, volleyball, any kind of activity that you do. Maybe it's just like frisbee, or maybe just like play video games. You know, just extracurricular activities. You have all these things on your schedule that you have to do, and it's like you rush to bed, you know, and then you rush to get up in the morning. Your alarm clock is blaring at you. You press snooze button like 8 times already, you know, and you're jumping out of your bed so fast, you know, you got about 3 feet of air before you landed on the ground.
you're smashing that alarm clock so it shuts up, and then you're just hurrying and taking a shower, getting ready for school, getting ready for whatever you're doing, because you got to go. You slept into the last minute, and you just go on your daily basis, and you get your to-do list, and you just start knocking things out, and you play slave to your schedule almost. Your schedule's you're just ruling you right now, and that happens so many times, and in my life, and that's happened so many times in my life as well as it does now. But the most the best example I can possibly give you guys was when I was in ROTC, and I'm sure I've told you this before, but this is just an example of when literally every minute of my day was taken up by something, and it was terrible. And basically, it was my freshman year of college. I graduated high school and went to college, and um, my day started out at 4:30 in the morning. And you think 8 o'clock's early to get up in the morning. Try getting up at 4:30 in the morning, and I would have to drive 30 minutes to Wright State. And the problem with that is the drive to Wright State is not necessarily the most exciting drive. It's a really boring drive. And when you're so tired at 4:30 in the morning, it's hard to stay awake at 4:30 in the morning when you're driving a car. Um, so that was hard in itself. And then as soon as I got to the college, I had to go to the Nutter Center, and you'd have to work out for like an hour and a half. And then as soon as I was done working out, I had 20 minutes to get from Wright State to Clark State, and that's about a 30-minute drive. And so I would just fly. I mean, don't suggest this. I'm not saying you need to speed when you get a car. So if you're about to get your license, I don't suggest it at all. You're breaking the law, you'll get a ticket. And so I would just try to go as fast as I could without getting a ticket, to this Clark State where I could go to college. And by this time, I'm just already exhausted because I've been up since 4:30 in the morning. I've been working out. My class for Clark State starts at 8 o'clock, and I'm going to be about 10 minutes late. And this was just a day-to-day basis. And then I would go to my classes, and I remember like there was a couple classes where I just had like maybe an hour break. Like there was like one or two classes. I took a total of like I think it was like 16 to 18 credit hours. So that's quite a few classes, and between one or two of them, I would have about an hour break, maybe 30 minutes break. And I just remember every single time I had a moment, I would run out to my car and I would sit in my car and just relax, turn the heat on or the AC or whatever, depending on the time of the year, and I would just take a nap, and I would set my alarm on my phone to wake me up for my next class. And man, I just remember being so worn out that by the time I got home around like 6 o'clock, I remember the only thing I would do is I would just plop down on my bed and stare up at the ceiling and just pass out and just like go to bed. I was so tired. It was terrible too. It was awful. But I eventually I did that for a whole year. Um, I was playing slave to my schedule. I didn't. That was my schedule was my life. Like everything that I had to do, my to-do list, just that was my life. And then I had to do homework on top of that, and write papers. So that was kind of rough. So that's like the best example I can give you guys. That was the worst time of my life, but it was also a good time where I learned a lot, and I got a lot of stuff done, and I learned a lot about responsibility, and I learned about a lot of life lessons basically. And I'm not basically regretting that, but um, I feel like there was a moment in that time, and there's a moment in lots of times that I have nowadays, like more presently, and where I feel like my axe is kind of getting dull, where I'm chopping away at the wood, and I'm hacking away as hard as I can. I'm going I'm full throttle. I'm going as fast as I can, as hard as I can, as best I can, and I just feel like my axe is getting dull, and it's not chopping enough wood, and I have to work harder and harder and harder to cut the same amount of trees as someone who has a sharper axe. And then I look around and I see people who I know have a lot on their plate, and it just seems like they're going through life with no sweat. They're not stressing at all, and they're just carrying on, and they're just, God is good, yeah. I'm like, you suck. I'm gonna kill you because my life sucks right now. And so it's like you see these people around you, and it's like, man, they must never struggle with anything. Do they ever sin, or do they ever get tired of life? Do they ever just get worn out from their schedule? Do they ever, I mean, does anything ever bother them, or are they just always like so spiritual and so like in tune with God? Or I mean, what is it? Because I don't know what their secret is. How are they chopping down so many trees with not nearly as much effort as I am? How are they going through life um, without hardly any effort? And I'll let you in on a little secret that I found out over the years. And the good thing is you guys are already doing it right now. It's the secret is they spend time with God. They take time out of their schedule and they make their schedule revolve around one thing, and it's centered around God. They spend time doing devotionals. They spend time reading. They spend time praying. They even spend time listening, um, which is a huge part where a lot of us lack in, is just listening to God and just listening for God's voice. Sometimes all we do is we just yap, 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 yap. And God's just like, give me a time so I can talk to you. Just quit talking. Just come to me in peace. Just come to me in quiet. A wise man comes to me with little words, but a fool comes to me in utterance. And so a lot of the secret is they're having time where they're spending with God. That's their sharpening of their axe, is spending time with God, whether it's in the mornings, the afternoons, or at nighttime. Whatever it is, they're setting a time. They're designating it so they can talk to God during this time. And that's their way of sharpening their axe. That's how they're doing it. And that's what we're doing today. That's what we've been doing all this week. That is what I want to do with you guys. This is also, we're doing devotionals, but we're also fasting as well. Instead of sleeping in like the rest of America right now, or the ones that don't have jobs, or the ones who have jobs that start later. How about this? Instead of sleeping in like the rest of your peers at school who want to sleep in as much as they can before school starts, instead of doing that, we're saying, you know what, God, instead of my sleeping, I actually want to spend time with you, and I want to start my day off with you. So this is also a fast as well as a devotional, and this is just kind of a way to sharpen your axe. Now, granted, you don't have to do it in the morning. Do it at whatever time best suits you. Every person is different. Every person is, sometimes God doesn't want to see me in the morning because I'm really grouchy in the morning sometimes, and it's sometimes it's hard for me to read, or it's hard for me to do certain things in the morning because my body just naturally falls asleep, and it's hard. So sometimes I'll do it in mid-afternoon, around lunchtime. It doesn't always have to be in the morning, but as long as you're making time out of your schedule and you're saying, you know what, God, regardless of what I have to do, I don't want to make you a to-do list item either. And I just want to make you a time where I can come in your presence and I can find peace and I can find rest and I can just start my day off knowing that you have your hand in everything, knowing that you are holding my entire life in your hands, that this world doesn't revolve around my schedule, that my world shouldn't revolve around my schedule, that it should revolve around something greater, something that'll last, and something that's eternal, and that's you. And so the secret is, to spend time with God. That's the way to sharpen your axe. That's the way to really make sure that your axe is nice and good. And so basically, I forgot. I just lost my train of thought, guys. But just make sure you spend time with God. Make sure that you have that time, and that's what we're doing today. And so that's good. So I mean, for the next time, just the next couple moments, this morning, try to make it moments where, okay, you're not checking off to-do lists. Maybe after this devotional, you can do it right away. Maybe after, I don't know, maybe you have to go to the bathroom or brush your teeth first or whatever. That's fine. But maybe this next couple minutes. I mean, it's 8:20 right now. How about we'll probably end this in the next 5 minutes, and after we end this, spend like 10-15 minutes just coming before God and saying, God, before my battle starts today, before I go into the line of fire, before I go out into this world, I want to put my armor on, God. I want to focus on you, and just rejuvenate my soul. Just say, at the very beginning of the day, I want my mind set to be on you. And throughout this day, I want to have you constantly in my mind. Yeah, I might be focusing on driving, or I might be focusing on doing some summer work, or I might be focusing on my sports, but whatever I do, I want to have you in the back of my mind, and I want everything I do to be for you and to worship you. Um, and so that's the secret, guys. Make sure you sharpen your axes, because when you sharpen your axe, cutting wood and going through this world is a lot easier. God's saying, God says that He wants to be with you during everything. It's not just a one-way relationship. God will help you, and there's a lot of things that God does in the background that you don't see that actually end up helping you. Just make sure that you're not slave to your schedule today. I challenge you to just make sure that you spend time and you set time aside at this designated time where you're going to sharpen your axe, where you're going to spend time with God and just chill for a little bit. So that's what I have for you guys today. I hope you guys have a great day. Have fun, Chris, on vacation. Have fun, everybody, and I'll see you guys tomorrow at 8 o'clock. So once again, sharpen your axe today. Just spend some time with God. So just spend the next 10, 15 minutes doing that. I'll see you guys later. Adios.